In the time 2063, humans' bad treatment of the Earth has raised the ocean situations to the point where utmost of Earth is swamped now. Only 2 mainlands remain, and presently they are fighting a war over land and coffers. In the middle of the ocean between both mainlands, there is a military village known as the Sentinel with a crew of 4 dogfaces that are starting to grow frustrated. After 2 times of service, their contract ended 3 months ago, yet the relief crew hasn't come to pick them up yet. Food is getting scarce, so during a veritably stormy night, Cassidy and Sullivan decide to try fishing. Unexpectedly they do well and fill their big net with plenitude of catches. Meanwhile their superior officer Hendricks notices the storm is getting too violent, so he asks Baines to secure the giant net that guards the Sentinel. At that moment, the swells begin growing big and violent, affecting the village's channels. Baines rushes to fix them and gets his hand stuck, causing him to struggle aquatic for several twinkles until he eventually can free himself. Outdoors, the swells take the net down and the brace loses their bounty. Sullivan tries to snare Commodity again, but the wind is getting too strong and dangerous, so he has to rush back outside before he is taken down too. Everyone makes it back just in time before the enormous surge hits the structure, causing it to shake and pushing water through every entrance, but the Sentinel is still standing when it's over. The coming morning, the group bandy how to lower the consumption of their coffers while having military sections for breakfast. Baines wonders what happened to the fish and gets angry when he hears they lost them, and Sullivan retaliates by affronting Baines for taking Corridor from his kitchen to repair the main pipes. An argument ensues and Hendricks reminds them to bear like grown-ups, asking them to concentrate on the repairs. Baines wonders why they do not ask for the relief to hurry, but Hendricks reminds him the telegraph is to make reports only. Subsequently, Sullivan does the diurnal report using the telegraph. He informs the base that there have been no events, and they reply there are no events there moreover, same as the last many months. Eventually latterly, Sullivan joins Hendricks outdoors and after making some jokes about their air cotillion, Sullivan looks at the ocean with the binoculars. He is shocked to discover a boat is approaching, which Cassidy confirms when she checks the radar. Sullivan gets veritably happy because he assumes it's the relief, but Hendricks is cautious and orders Baines to bring some munitions in case it's the adversary. Cassidy tries to communicate the boat yet gets no answer, so Hendricks decides to give the boat a chance. He hands Sullivan a gun and tells him to take the boat to meet the boat and make sure there are not any adversaries to worry about. Sullivan incontinently takes off and approaches the boat, calling out for any possible passengers, but there is still no answer. With his gun out and ready, Sullivan boards the boat and begins probing, getting further and further worried when he notices the suggestions. Objects are covered with dirt, the radio is not working, and there is untouched food in the closets. Hendricks tries to communicate him for a status update, but Sullivan ignores him as he finds 4 bags fated for them. This had been their relief, but Commodity happened to the crew and they faded, meaning they missed the chance to go home. Because Sullivan is not responding, Hendricks assumes he was attacked, so he wants to shoot the boat before it approaches the Sentinel. He asks Cassidy for one of the keys to the explosive, and when she hesitates, he reminds her this is protocol. Together with his own key, Hendricks starts cranking the explosive and before he shoots, he tries reaching Sullivan one last time. Thankfully Sullivan does answer this time and the attack is cancelled. Still when Cassidy asks for her key back, Hendricks informs her he is keeping both as discipline for her vacillation in following orders. Subsequently, Sullivan tows the boat over to the Sentinel. While Hendricks proceeds to probe the boat, Sullivan reunites with Cassidy and they spend many moments getting frisky to make up for the dread they just went through. Many hours laterally while they've a quick iodine bath, Baines informs the platoon of all the effects he has managed to regain from the boat. He is also sure this was the relief and that the machine hasn't worked in months. Sullivan wants to shoot a communication to the base but Hendricks forbids it. Until they get further information, since nothing about this makes sense indeed if it does count as an event. The crew is starting to get tired and cautious of Hendricks' station, especially when they notice he has both keys now. After the shower, Hendricks checks the boat's navigation history and writes down all the equals, which he takes back to the Sentinel to apply them on a chart to follow their trip. Meanwhile Cassidy and Sullivan talk about what the world must be like out there, since they have not seen it in 2 times. Sullivan admits he transferred a communication behind Hendricks' back, so they'll have an answer hereafter. The coming morning, Hendricks finds his three dog faces distrustfully coming to the telegraph, and Baines confesses the verity. Hendricks intends to scold them for it, but at that moment the machine receives an answer. The group gets agitated until they read what it says. It's exactly the same communication Sullivan transferred last night. It's also that they eventually realize they lost contact with the base a long time ago, and the computer has just been transferring back the no events communication Sullivan sends every day. While Hendricks continues to work with the equals on the chart, Baines begins sneaking into the boat with a plan in mind. One night, Sullivan catches him coming back, but Baines refuses to explain himself. The brace ends up drinking together, and Baines shares some stories about the family that awaits him at home, if home is still around at all. Suddenly, Baines confesses he thinks he can fix the boat. Agitated by the stopgap of escaping, Sullivan rushes to give Cassidy the news and asks her to leave with him to live together in one of the many safe municipalities that are left on the mainland, but Cassidy's reluctant and will not believe what she's hail. The coming day, Sullivan sneaks into the boat with Baines to help him fix the machine, and together they manage to finish the job. As soon as they come out, they find Hendricks staying for them, and he orders them to take down the boat to use its corridor to fix the Sentinel. He will not allow them to leave because he claims that staying then's their duty, anyhow if their contract has ended. Sullivan refuses to die then like it happened to others in the history, and Baines agrees, but when Cassidy joins them, she does not show support for them. Not minding about their arguments, Hendricks sends the platoon to work on repairs, hanging them with his gun if they do not observe. The guys are furious and hysterical. Hendricks has been too detector happy recently, so Cassidy levies to talk to him next. Cassidy tells Hendricks she understands he feels after he lost his last team, but going down does not equal dying, if anything it's deliverance. Meanwhile, Sullivan and Baines are starting to wonder if they'll have to fight their master to get what they want. Their discussion is intruded by Hendricks, who admits Cassidy has presented a good argument. Since they do not have dispatches, someone should report to the base. 2 people get to stay, and 2 others should go. Hendricks is obviously staying, and Cassidy has donated to stay then as well. Baines is happy with this development, but Sullivan is agonized. Moments laterly, Sullivan addresses to Cassidy in private, trying to move her to come as well, either by replacing Baines or defying Hendricks. He is so hopeless to make her happy that he indeed offers to take her place or stay then with her, but Cassidy snaps and tells him she does not love him, she's only allowed of him as a mortal necessity. A devastated Sullivan rushes out of the room, and Cassidy breaks down in gashes. That night, Sullivan and Baines concentrate on quilting. Hendricks gives Sullivan a letter to take to the base, and he comments on the fact that the adversary is exactly like them dog faces that just want to cover their homes. Sullivan reminds Hendricks they could all leave together, but Hendricks still refuses, saying someone needs to keep an eye on the explosive. Subsequently, Hendricks goes to finish his work on the chart and the equals, making a shocking discovery: the relief boat has steered down from the Sentinel on purpose, which makes no sense. Getting suspicious, Hendricks rushes to check on Cassidy, but he does not dare to say a word. The coming morning, the platoon wakes up hearing the alarm blurring because another boat has appeared on the radar. The men rush to get on their positions to defend the Sentinel, and Cassidy tries to get in contact with the boat to no mileage. This time Hendricks refuses to shoot anyone and orders the platoon to shoot, but their first pellet misses. While they are getting ready to reload, Cassidy notices their boat is missing. At the same time, Sullivan and Baines eventually get to see it easily. Formerly, the fog clears out. They refuse to shoot again, but by the time Cassidy comes to advise them, it's too late. Hendricks has his gun out and hits Baines with it. It was Hendricks that put the boat back out last night, and to prove he is being serious, he shoots the air cotillion. Baines still refuses to destroy the boat, and Hendricks responds by shooting his observance, so Sullivan takes the cannon and destroys the boat before they lose a life. A furious Baines tries to go after Hendricks, but Cassidy knocks him out first with a fire extinguisher. Subsequently, Sullivan and Cassidy lock Hendricks up in the closet, and Cassidy takes back both keys. A furious Baines laterally tries to find Hendricks to kill him and ends up hitting Sullivan when he tries to stop him. Cassidy calms him down with words, but Baines still leaves to get drunk alone and unload his effects, which makes him cry. Eventually, laterally, Cassidy mentions Hendricks needs his iodine bath, but Baines refuses to let him out and announces he quits. Sullivan tells Cassidy that they've no choice but to go through every single channel on the telegraph until they find one is working, and Cassidy takes the chance to confess she had not meant what she said about him. She had only wanted him to leave without having to worry about her, but Sullivan is reluctant to accept the reason. Latterly in the autumn, Sullivan takes some food to Hendrix and wonders why he changed his mind about leaving. Hendrix shares the information he got from the relief boat was then 3 months ago like it was supposed to, but commodity made it move down. This means there is a snake among them that wants the explosive. Sullivan does not believe him and leaves, locking the door again. While Sullivan spends the rest of his day transferring SOS dispatches to every channel, Baines keeps on drinking and tries to keep himself busy in his factory, but he soon loses his mind and destroys everything he has erected. Latterly in the evening, Cassidy shares with Sullivan a picture of her as a sprat with her family, explaining they were killed by the adversary when she was still a child. The coming morning, Baines finds Cassidy sleeping in the comms room. As he spouts gibberish about a missing future, he attacks Cassidy, making it feel as if he wants to take advantage of her. After some struggle, Cassidy manages to push him down, not realizing Baines has stolen the keys. Also, Cassidy goes looking for Sullivan to tell him what happened, but at that moment Baines' voice can be heard through the speakers publicizing that he will spark the net. Sullivan and Cassidy rush back to the comms room and try to calm him down, mentioning his family as a reason to keep living. Baines cries as he steps down from the controls, but after Cassidy takes back the keys, Baines admits he just forgot the last number of the activation law. Sullivan thinks it's time to let Hendrix out, but Baines has shocking news: he tried to kill him before, but when he entered the closet, Hendrix was gone. An open window indicated he'd ended effects for himself. When Cassidy and Sullivan check the closet, they are devastated to see Baines said the verity. Not being suitable to deal with his grief, Sullivan reads the letter Hendrix had written to the base, and he is shocked to see Hendrix had requested for his command to be extended. Subsequently, Cassidy shows the now clean factory to Sullivan to prove Baines is feeling better and is erecting again. Baines confesses his woman had been pregnant and he no way got to meet the baby, which causes Sullivan to fluently forgive him for the drunk outburst. Baines shows his gratefulness with a clinch before getting on the boat to go back to risking stuff from the ocean. Cassidy is going with him, so Sullivan gives her a gun just in case, and Cassidy thanks him with a kiss. Moments laterly, Sullivan decides to try fishing again, and when he pulls up the net he discovers Hendrix's body with a crack on his head, meaning someone killed him and there truly is a snake with them. While Sullivan runs to check on his musketeers' biographies for suggestions, Cassidy gapes at Baines in the boat, putting together a plan. Next, Sullivan checks on Hendrix's chart, coming up with a proposition. As a storm begins brewing, Sullivan checks the lamp outdoors and confirms it can be taken off and moved around. This means someone took the lamp down in the boat and made the boat follow them rather of going to the Sentinel, explaining the equals. Also that someone killed the relief platoon and let the boat float down. Many hours laterally, only Cassidy comes back from the little trip saying that Baines accidentally fell and failed while trying to snare some plastic. Sullivan incontinently suppositions she killed him and she was the snake each on, still he is too spooked to say anything yet. The coming morning, Cassidy wakes up alone in bed. Sullivan addresses to her only through the walkie documentary, explaining he knows she killed everyone and that she's observing for the adversary, but he will not let her have the net. Cassidy also realizes she's missing the keys and runs to the comms room, where she finds Sullivan in the middle of cranking the explosive. Since they've no future, he does not mind blowing the Sentinel up with them still outside. With Sullivan holding her at gunpoint, Cassidy tries to explain people in her motherland are suffering and she abominated lying to him, but Sullivan does not believe her and activates the explosive. Still rather of exploding, the machine displays a funny little expression that Baines liked to repeat, which makes them realize Baines reprogrammed the explosive so nothing can use it for destruction. In the end, Sullivan and Cassidy